This is a Ramana Maharshi clip, a talk by Ramana Maharshi with comments by Richard Clarke. This is a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. I'm Richard. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from Talk 196. Questioner. Seeking the I, there is nothing to be seen. Maharshi, because you are accustomed to identify yourself with the body and sight with the eyes, therefore you say you do not see anything. What is there to be seen? Who is to see? How to see? There is only one consciousness, which, manifesting as the I thought, identifies itself with the body, projects itself through the eyes, and sees the objects around. The individual is limited in the waking state and expects to see something different. The evidence of his senses will be the seal of authority, but he will not admit that the seer, the seen, and the sight are all manifestations of the same consciousness, namely, I. Contemplation helps one to overcome the illusion that the self must be visual. In truth, there is nothing visual. How do you feel the I now? Do you hold a mirror before you to know your own being? The awareness is the I. Realize it, and that is the truth. Questioner. On inquiry into the origin of thoughts, there is a perception of I, but it does not satisfy me. Maharshi, quite right. The perception of I is associated with a form, maybe the body. There should be nothing associated with the pure self. The self is the unassociated, pure reality in whose light the body, the ego, etc., shine. On stilling all thoughts, the pure consciousness remains over. Just on waking from sleep and before becoming aware of the world, there is that pure I. Hold to it without sleeping or without allowing thoughts to possess you. If that is held firm, it does not matter even though the world is seen. The seer remains unaffected by the phenomena. In this dialogue, the seeker expresses difficulty in finding the I when engaged in self-inquiry. Ramana Maharshi responds with guidance on the nature of consciousness and the misconceptions of visualizing the self. Ramana begins by addressing the seeker's inability to see the I while seeking the I. Ramana points out that the difficulty comes from the ingrained habit of identifying yourself with the body and associating sense experiences like sight solely with the eyes. Maharshi says that the I is not an object to be seen. Rather, it is the one consciousness that manifests as the I thought and is then identified with the body, projecting itself through the eyes and perceiving the surrounding objects. You see the objects, not the consciousness. Even if you look for the consciousness itself, you'll never see it. You see only objects of consciousness. Maharshi says that in the waking state, people, conditioned by their limited sensory perceptions, expect to see something sensory. Their sensory experiences become the standard of truth. However, Ramana challenges this perspective, asserting that the seer, the seen, and the sight are all manifestations of the same consciousness, the I. He suggests that investigation is instrumental in dispelling the illusion that the self must have a visual form. Can you see yourself? Ramana then shifts to the nature of awareness and self-perception. He asks the seeker to examine how they know the I without relying on visual cues, asking whether they need a mirror to know their own being. The key, says Ramana, is realizing that the awareness itself is who you are, transcending the need for visual or sensory confirmation. You should know this like you know that you exist. You exist, and you know you exist. This is direct experience, knowing by experience. The dialogue then looks into the seeker's question on the origin of thoughts and the associated perception of I. Ramana acknowledges the common association of the I with a form, usually the body. Instead, he directs us to recognize the unassociated, pure reality of the self, whose light of consciousness allows the body, ego, and thoughts to shine. Stilling all thoughts reveals the pure consciousness which persists, like the state when you just awaken just before becoming aware of the world. Even when thoughts are quiet, you still exist, and you know you exist. The teaching concludes with a powerful reminder to hold firm to the pure I, the consciousness that is yourself, without being swayed by external phenomena. None of it really touches you. It's like what is said in the Bhagavad Gita. Fire does not burn it. Water does not make it wet. Ramana says that when the pure consciousness that is your being is steadfastly held, even the perception of the world will not affect you. This is the unshakable nature of the pure self. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. These videos help bring Ramana Maharshi's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe now